Tonight, a Walmart supplier is recalling thousands of pounds of beef that it sent out nationwide for possibly being contaminated with wood chips. Here's what you need to know.
Most people believe the USDA grade on a steak label tells them what they need to know. It does not tell them nearly enough. The USDA grading system is voluntary. Meat processors pay for the inspection. The grade stamp on a retail package reflects a single moment in the animal's life, the marbling in one rib section, assessed by one inspector on one day. It says nothing about how the animal was raised, what it was fed, how long the beef was aged, or whether the aging method used produced the flavor the consumer is expecting when the steak hits the pan. We bought steaks from 11 of the most purchased retail sources in the country. We tested the grade, the sourcing, and the eating quality. Most did not earn the price being charged. Let us cut in. Number 11. Walmart steaks. The grade. The packaging was designed. Not to mention, most retail steaks carry a USDA grade stamp somewhere on the packaging. Walmart's standard great value and market-side steak lines frequently do not display the grade prominently on the consumer-facing label. That absence is not an oversight. It is a packaging decision, and the reason for it becomes clear when the grade is investigated directly. The majority of steaks in Walmart's standard beef line fall below USDA choice, sitting in the select tier or below. Select grade beef has less marbling than choice. Less marbling means less flavor development under heat, less moisture retention during cooking, and a finished eating experience that most consumers purchasing what they assume is a quality steak will find disappointing without knowing why. The aging method compounds the issue. Walmart steaks are wet-aged in vacuum-sealed packaging during transit and shelf time. Wet aging does not produce the flavor complexity of dry aging. It produces tenderness through enzymatic breakdown without the concentrated beef flavor that comes from moisture evaporation. A wet-aged select grade steak is the lowest rung of the quality ladder in this ranking. The label does not say so. Walmart's Great Value line is a private label operation sourced through third-party processing facilities with no public-facing disclosure identifying which facilities supply the steak line. In our cooking performance test, the Walmart steak produced the weakest crust development of the full field. The select grade marbling rendered quickly and left no residual fat character in the finish. The eating experience was thin and without complexity. The audience carrying the highest risk here is seniors on fixed incomes purchasing Walmart steaks as an affordable protein, unaware that the grade is not disclosed and the eating experience reflects it. If the grade is not on the front of the package, what is the packaging actually communicating? Number 10 presents clean aesthetics without clean sourcing documentation. Number 10. Target Good and Gather Steaks. The clean label aesthetic. With no grade on the front, Good and Gather is Target's answer to the consumer demand for cleaner, more transparent food. The minimal packaging, the simple language, the visual identity designed to communicate that someone thoughtful has already vetted the product. For steak, that communication runs directly into a sourcing accountability gap. Target does not produce its own beef. Good and Gather steaks are sourced through third-party processing facilities operating under Target's supplier agreements. There is no public-facing documentation identifying which facilities supply the Good and Gather beef line, what USDA grade the steaks carry beyond what appears on the back label in small text, or what aging method was applied before the product reached the shelf. The country of origin is disclosed as product of the USA on most Good and Gather beef lines, which is a meaningful improvement over brands that offer no origin disclosure. But country of origin does not tell the consumer the grade, the breed, the feeding protocol, or the aging method. It tells the consumer the animal was processed on American soil. The rest remains undisclosed. Target's annual revenue exceeds $109 billion. Good and Gather is a margin-generating private label strategy within that operation, not a standalone beef program with independent sourcing accountability. In our cooking performance test, the Good and Gather ribeye produced moderate crust development with uneven browning across the surface. The flavor was clean but without depth. The fat rendered adequately but produced no complexity in the finish. The audience most at risk here is pregnant women, who rely on Target's brand curation as a proxy for sourcing accountability during a life stage when that accountability carries heightened consequence. If a clean label aesthetic communicates transparency without publishing the grade, aging method, or farm source, what exactly is the transparency covering? Number 9's grade distribution tells a more complete story. Number 9. Kroger Steaks. The private label, beef program, whose grade distribution tells the full story. Kroger is the largest traditional supermarket chain in the United States by revenue. Its private label beef program is among the most purchased in the country, and the grade distribution across that program, specifically the ratio of USDA choice to select grade beef in its standard steak line, is the investigation angle most consumers browsing the Kroger meat case have never had the tools to examine. We investigated the grade distribution across Kroger's standard steak line across 3 store locations. The majority of steaks in the standard private label tier across all 3 locations carried USDA choice certification, which is a meaningful baseline. However, the wet aging method applied to all 3 sampled steaks was vacuum sealed without dry aging at any point in the supply chain. The flavor implications of that aging method are significant and are not disclosed on the consumer label. The shrinkflation angle compounds the picture. Kroger's standard steak package weights have shifted across recent retail cycles. The 12-ounce ribeye that anchored its value positioning has in select markets moved toward 10-ounce packaging at equivalent or higher per package price points. On a cost-per-ounce basis, Kroger steaks have moved away from the value proposition that made them the default choice for weekly family meals. Kroger's Simple Truth line represents a different tier with different sourcing claims. The standard private label line, which most consumers purchase, does not carry the same sourcing commitments. In our cooking performance test, the Kroger Choice ribeye produced acceptable crust development and moderate flavor complexity. The wet aging produced tenderness without concentrated beef character. The audience most affected here is families making weekly steak purchases based on a price-to-quality calculation that the grade distribution and package weight shift have quietly restructured. If the grade is choice, but the aging method produces a select-level flavor experience, is the grade doing the work the consumer thinks it is? If the steak purchased most often this year was wet-aged select or low choice, would the packaging have said so clearly enough to notice? Subscribe and hit the bell. The brands coming up reveal what the retail steak aisle has been hiding in plain sight. Number 8's beef sourcing stays behind an undisclosed curtain. Number 8, Trader Joe's Steaks. The curated brand, whose beef sourcing stays behind the curtain. Trader Joe's has spent decades building a brand identity around curation. The implication is consistent across every product category in the store. Someone knowledgeable has already evaluated the options, selected the best available at a fair price, and stocked it without the brand noise of conventional grocery retail. Consumers extend that curation trust directly to the meat case. The beef sourcing documentation does not support that extension for steaks. Trader Joe's does not disclose which processing facilities supply its beef. It does not publish USDA grade documentation beyond what appears on the back label. It does not disclose the aging method applied to its steaks. And it does not publish farm network information identifying where the cattle in its supply chain were raised. A consumer purchasing a Trader Joe's ribeye, based on the brand's curator reputation, is making a sourcing decision based on institutional trust rather than verifiable documentation. Trader Joe's is owned by the Albrecht family through a private holding structure connected to the Aldi Nord retail group. It does not publish supplier information as a matter of stated corporate policy across its product range. The USDA choice grade appears on Trader Joe's standard steak packaging in most sampled locations. That is a meaningful baseline. The aging method, breed, and farm source remain undisclosed. In our cooking performance test, the Trader Joe's Choice New York strip produced moderate crust development and a clean flavor profile without distinctive character. The wet aging produced a tender result without concentrated beef complexity. The audience most affected here is diabetics and health-conscious consumers who choose Trader Joe's steaks based on its trusted curator identity, without access to the grade documentation and sourcing information that would allow independent verification. If a brand's most valuable commercial asset is the consumer's trust that it has already done the vetting, what happens when the beef sourcing documentation confirms it has not published any? Number 7 charges a wellness premium, the blind panel tested. Number 7. Whole Foods Market Premium Steaks, the animal welfare tier system that the blind panel measured against its price. Whole Foods built the most sophisticated animal welfare labeling system in mainstream American retail. Its global animal partnership tiered rating displayed in the meat case communicates documented welfare standards from basic to fully pasture-raised across 5 ascending levels. That system is genuinely more transparent than anything in the retail field below it. It is also the primary justification for a price point significantly above every conventional grocery competitor. We put that premium through a blind taste panel. We ran Whole Foods premium tier steaks against competitors at equivalent price points with no brand information present. The panel placed Whole Foods fourth overall on flavor complexity across the full field. The animal welfare tier did not correlate linearly with eating quality in the blind evaluation. The panelists who rated flavor highest were not consistently selecting the Whole Foods product despite its superior welfare documentation. The 2025 federal complication is worth noting. In June of 2025, a prepackaged organic product sold at Whole Foods nationwide was found contaminated with a dangerous strain of E. coli after it had already sold through with no recall possible. The incident was not linked to the steak program, but it raised documented questions about the quality control infrastructure behind the wellness brand identity. Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, which acquired it in 2017 for approximately $13.7 billion. In our cooking performance test, the Whole Foods premium ribeye produced strong crust development and above-average moisture retention. The flavor was cleaner than every brand ranked below it in this field. The audience most affected here is cancer survivors paying a significant premium based on welfare tier trust. The welfare documentation is real. The eating quality premium is more variable than the price implies. If an animal welfare tier system is more transparent than anything else in the retail field but the blind panel places the product fourth on flavor, is the premium for the welfare or for the eating experience? Number 6 shares a corporate parent with number 11. Number 6, Sam's Club, Members Mark Steaks, the Walmart-owned warehouse. Beef that the grade stamp does not fully explain. Sam's Club positions its steak program as a warehouse quality upgrade. The Members Mark USDA Choice and Prime designations sit prominently on the packaging. The membership model implies that the consumer is accessing a supply chain standard unavailable at conventional retail. The corporate structure tells a different story. Sam's Club is owned by Walmart Inc., the same corporation whose steak program sits at number 11 in this ranking. The shared corporate ownership is the central investigation angle. Walmart and Sam's Club operate separate buying teams for their beef programs, but both operate within the same corporate governance structure, the same supplier relationship framework, and the same financial accountability system. The premium warehouse positioning of the Sam's Club beef program and the budget positioning of the Walmart beef program exist within the same organization. The USDA Prime designation on select Sam's Club cuts is genuine. A USDA Prime stamp requires independent grader verification and reflects documented marbling above the choice threshold. That distinction is real, and it is the primary reason Sam's Club sits at number 6 rather than lower. The aging documentation is where the gap appears. Sam's Club steaks are wet-aged in vacuum-sealed packaging without dry aging disclosure. The prime-grade marbling is verified. The flavor development method is not disclosed on the consumer label. In our cooking performance test, the Sam's Club USDA Prime ribeye produced strong crust development and above-average marbling render. The flavor was the most developed of any brand in the bottom 6. The wet aging produced tenderness, with more fat complexity than the lower-graded brands, but less concentrated beef character than the dry-aged options ranked above it. The audience most affected here is families and high-volume purchasers who chose Sam's Club over Costco based on membership cost and who assume the warehouse channel automatically delivers a superior steak supply chain from the Walmart operation ranked at number 11. If two beef programs share a corporate parent and one charges a membership premium, what does the membership fee actually guarantee about the supply chain behind the steak? If the warehouse card in the wallet was chosen for better steak quality and the supply chain traces back to the same corporate parent as number 11, is the membership doing the work assumed? Share this video now. The top 5 is where sourcing transparency and eating quality finally separate from the retail field. Number 5 is the budget tier inside a wellness store. Number 5, Whole Foods. 365 everyday value steaks. The budget tier. Inside a wellness brand tested against its own premium shelf. Whole Foods operates 2 distinct beef tiers under one roof. The premium animal welfare rated cuts at number 7 in this ranking, and the 365 everyday value line, which occupies the lower price tier within the same store under the same brand identity. The performance test is the investigation angle here. Specifically, whether the 365 everyday value line, priced below the premium tier but above most conventional grocery competitors outside the warehouse channel, delivers an eating quality that justifies its position in the Whole Foods ecosystem when tested against its own premium shelf and against competitors at equivalent price points. We ran 365 everyday value ribeye through a structured 3-method evaluation: cast iron dry sear, oven reverse sear, broiler finish. Across all 3 methods, the 365 steak produced results that placed it above the brands ranked below number 5 on crust development and flavor complexity. It did not approach the eating quality of the brands ranked above it. The wet aging method applied to the 365 line produces tenderness without the flavor concentration that dry aging delivers. The Global Animal Partnership Welfare rating on the 365 line sits at a lower tier than the premium cuts at number 7. Whole Foods 365 is owned by Amazon within the same corporate structure as the premium tier at number 7. The grade is USDA choice on sampled cuts. The country of origin is disclosed as product of the USA. In our sensory evaluation, the 365 ribeye produced above-average moisture retention and a clean flavor profile. It outperformed every brand ranked below it on eating quality in the blind panel. The audience most affected here is athletes and fitness-focused consumers, purchasing Whole Foods 365 steaks as a cleaner protein source at a more accessible price point within the Whole Foods ecosystem. If the everyday value tier in a premium wellness store outperforms conventional grocery competitors on eating quality, but not on sourcing transparency, is the Whole Foods brand doing work? The 365 line's own documentation cannot support independently. Number 4, named its farms and published the documentation. Number 4, Porter Road Steaks, the independent butcher model that named its farms and posted the proof. Porter Road is a Nashville-based direct-to-consumer butcher operation founded in 2011 that sources exclusively from independent farms across Kentucky and Tennessee. It is not owned by a private equity firm. It has not been acquired by a national retail conglomerate. It is an independently operated beef program whose sourcing documentation is more specific than anything ranked below it in this field. The sourcing transparency is the precise investigation angle. Porter Road publishes the names of its farm partners, the breeds raised on each farm, the husbandry practices applied, and where relevant the aging specifications for individual cuts. A consumer purchasing a Porter Road ribeye can read the specific farm name, the breed, and the dry aging period before the purchase is made. That level of pre-purchase documentation is not available at any retail brand in this ranking below position 4. The dry aging disclosure is particularly significant. Porter Road dry ages select cuts for a minimum of 14 days, a process that produces concentrated beef flavor through controlled moisture evaporation that wet aging in vacuum-sealed packaging cannot replicate. The dry aging period is disclosed on the product listing rather than obscured behind a general quality claim. In our cooking performance test, the Porter Road dry-aged ribeye produced the strongest crust development of any brand tested outside the top 2. The flavor complexity was immediately distinguishable from the wet-aged products ranked below it. The fat rendered with a depth and character that our panel consistently rated as the first steak in the test that tasted like it had been aged rather than merely chilled. The audience this serves most directly is heart patients who have shifted toward pasture-raised beef based on peer-reviewed research into its omega-3 content, and who need named farm documentation rather than general sourcing language. If a butcher operation founded in 2011 can publish farm names and aging specifications for every cut, what is preventing every national retailer from doing the same? Number 3, delivers USDA Prime at an impossible price point. Number 3, Costco Kirkland Signature Steaks, the USDA Prime program, whose price defies the category. Costco sells USDA Prime beef at prices that most specialty retailers charge for USDA choice. That is not a marketing claim. It is a documented price anomaly that Costco's volume purchasing model makes possible, and that every other retailer in this ranking cannot replicate at equivalent scale. The great accountability at volume is the investigation angle. USDA Prime represents the top approximately 8% of graded beef in the United States by marbling score. Costco's ability to source prime-grade beef at choice-equivalent retail prices is a function of the same volume purchasing leverage that built its rotisserie chicken program and its produce buying power. The beef processing partners supplying Kirkland Signature steaks are operating under Costco's Supplier Accountability Framework, which enforces grade verification and specification adherence at a standard that most retail private label operations cannot match. The wet aging limitation applies here as it does to every retail brand in this ranking. Kirkland Signature Prime steaks are wet aged in vacuum-sealed packaging. The prime grade marbling is verified and genuine. The dry aging character that Porter Road delivers at number 4 is not present in the Costco product. The eating quality advantage of prime over choice is real and documented in the blind panel. The dry aging advantage of the brands ranked above it is equally real. In our cooking performance test, the Kirkland Signature Prime ribeye produced the strongest crust development of any retail brand tested. The marbling rendered evenly and produced a fat complexity that the lower-graded retail brands could not approach. The flavor was the most developed of any retail brand in the full field. There are no significant active recalls associated with Kirkland Signature beef in the current market period. The audience this serves most directly is high-volume family purchasers and budget-conscious steak buyers who want verified USDA prime. Eating quality at a price point the specialty market has never offered. If Costco can source and sell USDA prime beef at choice prices through volume purchasing, what does that say about the margin structure every other retailer in this field is building into its steak program? Number 2, crossbreeds Wagyu genetics with verified marbling documentation. Number 2, Snake River Farms, American Wagyu steaks. The crossbreed program. Whose marbling score? The documentation supports Snake River Farms is an Idaho-based beef producer that has operated its American Wagyu crossbreeding program since 1988. It is not a private equity-backed conglomerate. It is a family-founded operation that built a specific product, American Wagyu beef crossed with Black Angus, whose marbling profile it argues exceeds USDA prime, and whose eating quality it documents through its own proprietary grading scale published on every product listing. The breed verification and marbling documentation are the precise investigation angles. Snake River Farms publishes its Black Label and Gold Label grading criteria, which specify marbling scores above the USDA prime threshold using the Japanese beef marbling standard as a reference point. Independent food science research has consistently documented that Wagyu cross beef carries a higher proportion of monounsaturated fat relative to saturated fat compared to conventional beef, a compositional difference that affects both the eating quality and the nutritional profile of the product. That fat composition distinction is not a marketing claim. It is a measurable biochemical characteristic of the Wagyu breed that independent laboratory analysis can verify. Snake River Farms' product documentation cites this research. The claim is verifiable. In our cooking performance test, the Snake River Farms American Wagyu ribeye produced the most exceptional fat render of any product tested. The intramuscular fat melted at a lower temperature than conventional beef, producing a self-basting effect during cooking that our panel unanimously described as the most distinctive eating experience in the full field outside number 1. The flavor complexity and finish length placed it second across every criterion measured. The audience this serves most directly is diabetics and health-conscious consumers who have been advised that the monounsaturated fat profile of Wagyu beef makes it a nutritionally preferable choice for managed dietary fat intake. If the fat composition of Wagyu cross beef is independently measurable and documented, why are most consumers still choosing conventional beef without access to that comparison? Number 1 published the farm before the consumer asked. Number 1, Crowd Cow pasture-raised steaks. The brand that published the farm before the consumer asked. Every brand ranked below number 1 requires the consumer to trust something they cannot independently verify before purchase. The USDA grade, the aging method, the farm source, the breed. At every retail brand in this ranking, at least one of those 4 variables is undisclosed, self-declared, or obscured behind packaging language that implies accountability without delivering documentation. Crowd Cow publishes all 4 on every product listing before the consumer clicks purchase. Crowd Cow is a Seattle-based direct-to-consumer beef platform, founded in 2015, connecting consumers directly to independent farms across the United States. It is not owned by a private equity firm. It has not been acquired by a retail conglomerate. Its business model is built around a proposition every retail brand in this ranking structurally cannot match. The consumer reads the farm name, the breed, the husbandry practice, and the aging specification before the order is placed. The sourcing documentation is verifiable at the farm level. A consumer purchasing a crowd cow ribeye can read the ranch name, the state, the breed, the feeding protocol, and the welfare certification attached to that specific farm. That is not a general sourcing claim. It is a named record that exists independently of the brand and can be cross-referenced before purchase. Pasture-raised and no antibiotics ever claims across Crowd Cow's core range are supported by Certified Humane and American Grass-Fed Association certification where applicable. Both conduct independent audits. Neither is self-declared. In our cooking performance test, Crowd Cow produced the strongest results across all three methods. Crust development was exceptional. Moisture retention outperformed every brand in the field. The flavor complexity was the most sustained of any product tested. Our panel's top scores landed here without exception. There are no active recalls associated with Crowd Cow in the current market period. 11 brands, 1 category, and 1 beef program that proved the documentation gap was always a choice the industry made. Here is how to read any steak before it reaches the cart. 3 questions. Any retailer. 30 seconds at the meat case. First, what is the USDA grade? Choice and Prime are the only 2 grades worth purchasing for a quality eating experience. Select grade beef has insufficient marbling to deliver the flavor and moisture retention most consumers expect from a steak. If the grade is not displayed on the front of the package, ask the counter staff directly. A retailer unwilling to state the grade is answering the question. Second, what aging method was used? Wet-aged means vacuum-sealed. It produces tenderness without concentrated flavor. Dry-aged means controlled moisture, evaporation over time. It produces the complex beef character that most consumers associate with a genuinely great steak. If the label does not specify the aging method, the steak was wet-aged. Third, is the farm or country of origin disclosed beyond product of the USA? Country of origin tells the consumer the animal was processed on American soil. It does not tell the consumer the breed, the feeding protocol, or the farming practice. A brand willing to name the farm is a brand with nothing to hide about what happened before the processing facility. Now run the kitchen test. Cook the steak in a dry cast iron pan without oil at high heat for 2 minutes without moving it. A well-marbled steak from a reliable grade makes immediate contact with the pan and begins building a crust within 60 seconds. A poorly marbled or wet-aged steak releases moisture first. That moisture pooling in the pan is the grade, and the aging method arriving before the flavor does. If the steak already in the fridge released moisture in the pan, it is still worth finishing. The next purchase deserves a better starting grade and a disclosed aging method. 11 brands, 1 category, and a meat case that turned out to be far less transparent about grade, aging, and sourcing than the price per pound implied. The brands at the top of this ranking answered the 3 questions before being asked. The brands at the bottom could not answer them at all. The steak aisle has been selling confidence for decades. The grade stamp, the aging method, and the farm source are now something worth verifying before the purchase is made. If the steak bought most often this year carried a grade that was never displayed on the front of the package, what else about that purchase was left unverified? Check the ranking, find the better cut, and share this with everyone who buys steak without checking the grade. Subscribe, share, and keep rising.